Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Cool Boy KJ here. And today we are about to go over something that I have never thought in a billion years would I ever do. We are about to talk about how to survive in horror movies. Now, as you all know that I am a huge horror movie fan. I grew up watching movies like Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Chucky, Freddy Krueger, Ghostface, Leatherface, Leprechaun, you name it. But my top 5 favorite killers of all time is Michael Myers, Chucky, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, and Ghostface. Those are the top 5 legendary, psychotic, sadistic serial killers in the horror film genre. Some might agree, some might disagree, but at this point, it's just the way it is. So right now, how about we go over some rules, top 10 rules of how to survive in a horror movie. Let's go over rule number 1, obviously. Rule number 1, never drink or do drugs. Now, as you all know in all horror films, that there'll be a lot of scenarios regarding around serial killers stalking victims who likes to drink or do drugs. So therefore, drinking booze like Jack Daniels, vodka, margarita, Bloody Mary, whiskey, Hennessy, whatever, or even back in the 90s, beer. Like, everyone knows that everybody drinks beer when it comes to horror film genres. So therefore, I suggest drinking is off limits. If you want to survive, stay sober. And most of all, drugs such as weed, obviously, is what everybody does in films, off limits too. Always stay sober because you never know what might happen next. Now, let's go over rule number 2. Rule number 2, do not make any sound whenever the killer is around. Time out. Let me get comfortable here for a sec. Oh, yeah, I've been working out. Thanks for asking. Anyways, back to the thing. Rule number 2, do not make any sound when the killer's around. Now, everybody knows that when you see a psychotic killer, there's gonna be some stuff going on. So, for instance, when you're hiding underneath the bed, or if you're hiding in a closet, if you're hiding in a car, if you're hiding out in the woods, if you're hiding underneath the water, if you're hiding underneath the car, if you're hiding underneath the table, or if you're hiding in a chimney, which no one would do, always stay silent. Don't even make a sound, don't gasp, don't even breathe, because trust me, you will get caught if you make noises. Trust me. Okay, now let's go over rule number 3. Rule number 3 are how to survive in a horror film. This is completely very knowledgeable. You cannot have sex. Now, every once in a while, everyone knows the historic tradition regarding horror movies. Such movies like Scream, Friday the 13th, Halloween, or Nightmare on Elm Street, which is basically based upon teenagers doing whatever teenagers do, and that's to be horny and have sex every now and then. Especially on Friday the 13th. Say like a group of kids like from high school or college go out to rent a cabin out in the woods, Camp Crystal Lake, Camp Blood, or whatever, or Camp Forest, or whatever it's called. They all know for a fact that they want to do what teenagers do. Go to a cabin and get horny and fuck. And that's basically one thing that's a sin factor, along with doing drugs. Doing drugs and having sex in horror films when your literally lives are in stake, that is a sin factor because you won't survive. Trust me, you will be ended up dying if you have sex. So therefore, and you know what else is funny? Every time in the horror films, people who have sex, they're not virgins. So therefore, non-virgins always get killed. Virgins who do not have sex always survives. So therefore, being a virgin in a horror movie is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. So therefore, stay to yourself. Keep your dick in your pants. Better yet, to females, keep your vaginal areas in your panties. And don't be like, oh, and most of all, you want to flash something, flash a light, because nobody wants to flash their tits every now and then to a horny guy who wants to have sex with you in the woods. So please, under any circumstances, don't have sex in horror films. You will regret it. Let's move on to rule number 4. Wear proper footwear. Now, everybody should understand this. When you're running from a serial killer, always wear something comfortable on your feet, or whatever you're supposed to say. I don't care. This is my channel. I say what I want. Anyways, when you're running from a serial killer, always keep feet in a proper manner. Like, if you're wearing running shoes, like Nike, Adidas, Jordans, basketball shoes, which is basically comfortable to run in. But like running shoes, like, I don't know, like something you use in the gym, something you go jogging in. If you're wearing combat boots, you can wear those, work boots. But don't run in sandals, don't run in socks, and don't even run footless. Don't even run without any shoes, because that didn't work out for Vicky in Halloween 2018 when she saw the Boogeyman, aka The Shape, also known as himself, Michael fucking Myers, who was standing in the kid's closet, and the Julian kid, well, sort of, if that's his name, I don't know, I keep track, but whatever. The kid said that he saw Boogeyman, which is Michael Myers' other nickname in the Halloween film franchise. So therefore, he told Vicky to close the closet door. And what happens? She tried to close the door wouldn't budge. She opened the door, and there was the Shape himself, Michael Myers, slashing her away until the kid got out and ran. Now the scene of him saying, "Oh shit," cracked me up because the kid is hilarious in the film. Trust me. For those who do not know what I'm talking about, search Halloween 2018 and watch the movie and you'll know what I'm talking about. But therefore, Vicky somehow tried to fight off Michael, but she slammed a chair, and what did she do? She tried to run out, and what happens? She slipped. She fucking slipped on the ground, wearing socks. No shoes. That's where you fucked up at, Vicky. And that's what happens when you wear nothing on your feet. So if you want to survive in a horror film, wear proper footwear. Do not wear anything that has socks in it. If you wear socks only and without shoes, you will not make it. So please, if you want to survive, put on some shoes. Now, rule number 5. Obviously, do not watch any horror movies that you're in. So basically, I've noticed that lots of people in horror movies watch horror films when they're in it. So therefore, I don't really count this as a bad thing, but for my suggestion and for my own sake, for you and to everyone else, don't watch anything scary when you're about to be slashed by a psychotic serial killer that's on the loose. So therefore, watch movies like, I don't know, cartoons, PG cartoon shows, or funny comedy movies instead of horror films. That will get you killed. Rule number 6. Now this rule right here, rule number 6, is what is also the most important rule in horror movies. Never split up. When you're in a big group and you're about to, get sliced off one by one by a serial killer, that's because that you are going off on your own, because you're not playing the smart thing. The smart thing to do is to stay with your group. The dumb thing to do is to be like, we need to split up. We need to find somebody and split up and meet up on their way. That's stupid. Don't do it. So if you want to survive in a horror film, always stay with a group. Stick by your peers, stick by your friends, and just go off and just literally find mysteries or solve things in a group instead of doing it by yourself. Excuse me. Rule number 7, do not answer phone calls. So This reminds me of the movie Scream. Scream 1, Scream 2, 3, 4, and the new Scream that's coming out next year. So, obviously, this whole scenario of the Scream film genre revolves around phone calls. Therefore, lots and lots of victims or survivors in the films answer phone calls from none other than Ghostface. Now, Ghostface, he's one of the almost, literally, also one of the most iconic killers in horror film genres. Thanks to Wes Craven, rest in peace. But therefore, when you're in a serious manner, and if you feel like that there's something wrong, and if you feel like there's something is going to happen, bling, bling, bling. Oh wait, it's a phone call. From who? From a deranged psychotic killer. Don't answer the phone, let it ring. Because if you answer the phone, your time is up. And then Ghostface be like, okay, pretend that this is a phone. Wait a minute, what am I doing? This is my phone right here. Pretend that this is like literally a real phone. This is my old phone, which is an Android, because I'm literally shooting the video with my new iPhone. So pretend this is a phone, a real phone. I'll be like, hello? And they be like, do you want to die tonight? I'm like, wrong number. But you know what's that's not gonna, save me, because I answered the phone and I'm gonna end up dying. So don't answer your phone. Let it ring. I don't care who, what, ifs, or buts, or whoever it is. I don't care. Don't answer the phone. If you want to survive, keep the phone off the hook. Let's see. Rule number 8. Rule number 8. Now this rule is the most important rule of all time. Never, and I mean never, under any circumstances whatsoever, say the words, I'll be right back. Because we all know what happens to people when they say that. Because every time someone says, I'll be right back, they end up getting killed, gutted, or turned into a shish kebab. Or better yet, turn into a fucking jack-o'-lantern. So therefore, I repeat, if you want to survive in a horror movie, don't say I'll be right back. And the next thing you know, when that person says I'll be right back, that other person is gonna find that person, and guess what? He's gonna end up being dead. Because you wanna know why he's died? Because he says I'll be right back. So I'm warning you, if you want to survive in movies, it's getting cold. I know. Don't judge me. If you want to survive in horror films, you better not say that word, because you will regret it. Now, let's move on to rule number 9. Rule number 9, you should be prepared for the killer. Like, therefore, prepare yourself with weapons or any other deadly, what's that word called? Blunt instruments, or, I don't know, freaking film, you know what I'm getting, weapons. So if you want to be prepared with a killer, always have weapons like, I don't know, a flare gun, a 2x4, a stick, a frying pan, some knives, guns, a baseball bat, a pipe, what else weapons? I don't know, just all that. I guess that's all the weapons you can use. Oh, and chairs. Yes, chairs. If you want to whack the motherfucker on his head, give him a brain injury or a concussion, whack his ass with a chair multiple times so he won't be able to function or even concentrate or even focus, or better yet, won't even remember why he killed you in the first place. Always be preparing yourself to have weapons. So therefore, if you want to fight back, you got to fight back like how it is, with weapons. Got that, kid? Okay. Now, let's move on to the last remaining rule, how to survive in horror movies. Now, this rule number 10, this rule is the top first, number one most important rule that you need to follow in a horror movie. Rule number 10, always make sure the killer is dead. Don't be like, Oh, let me shoot him. Let me shoot him. Pat, 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 pat. Let me stab him. Let me stab him. Stab, 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 stab. Oh, let me burn him. Ah, burn, bitch, burn. Always make sure when you get the job done, make sure that he's dead. Don't just walk up to his body and assume that he's dead. Like, for instance, Halloween 2, 1981. The sequel to the first ever Halloween film directed by John Carpenter himself. There's a marshal in a hospital who literally walked up to Michael Myers' so-called dead body, even though he was shot by Dr. Loomis, played by Donald Pleasence, rest in peace. Therefore, he went up and he assumed that Michael Myers is dead. When Donald Pleasence, who played an incredible role as Dr. Samuel Loomis, he warned the marshal, or better yet, just explicitly just told the marshal to get away from Michael. But what happened? The marshal didn't follow no orders. He says that he's dead. He stopped breathing. And what happened? Michael Myers rose up like a freaking zombie or immortal figure that he is and sliced the marshal's throat with a scalpel. That's how stupid most people be in a horror film. They always they always assume that the killer is dead when they're not dead. Make sure that he's really dead. You probably wants me to make more sense, right? When I mean make sure that the killer is dead, I mean go up to him and finish the final blow. For instance, in Scream 1 and 2, which was released in 1996 and 1997 respectively, Sidney Prescott, the main protagonist of the whole entire franchise, is always the one who's always targeted the most by Ghostface, played by numerous people. Billy Loomis and Stu Macher were the first very two people to play Ghostface. The next thing you know, Mickey and Mrs. Loomis, Billy's mother, played Ghostface in Scream 2. And who played Ghostface in Scream 3? None other than Roman, Sidney's half-brother. And who else played Scream 4? Who else played Scream 4 as Ghostface? Some guy named Charlie. And Sidney Prescott's cousin, Jill Roberts. So, my best thing is because I'm a big fan of the Scream franchise. Sidney Prescott is the smartest character in Scream. You wanna know why? Because she pulls off lots of scenarios to try to, weaken the killer to make sure that he's not fast enough or if he's not more intelligent enough. Because let's face it, Sidney Prescott is a smart character. She's a smart young girl. And you know what happens? At the end of Scream 1, 2, and 3, all of the main antagonists who played Ghostface get shot in the head. In the first film of Scream 1, she shoots Billy Loomis in the head after Randy Meeks uttered the words, "Careful. This is the moment when a supposedly dead killer come back to life with one last scare." And what happened? Billy said, did a jump scare, only to get shot in the forehead. And therefore, he died. And what happened in Scream 2? Mrs. Loomis, Billy's mother, got the same fate happen to her. After Sidney and Gale Weathers brutally shot Mickey after he rose up like a dead zombie, obviously scared the fuck out of me when I was a kid. She went ahead and she finished the job done by putting one last bullet through Mrs. Loomis' skull. And she uttered the words, just in case she tries to get back to life. Oh wait, she can't come back to life because she's dead, motherfucker. So yeah. Oh, and also, in Friday the 13th, Mrs. Pamela Voorhees was the original serial killer of the Friday the 13th movie. Jason didn't show up in the Friday the 13th franchise until the sequel after the first movie. So therefore, throughout the entirety of the franchise of Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees became the main antagonist throughout the entire whole thing, while Mrs. Voorhees was the first antagonist in the very first original Friday the 13th movie. And you wanna know what happened? She died at the end of the movie after she got her fucking head decapitated by Alice Hardy, the main protagonist of Friday the 13th. Because she wants to make sure that the killer does not come back again. Oh, and then Friday the 13th, the final chapter, part 4 obviously, Jason Voorhees actually died in that movie. None other than the man himself, Tommy fucking Jarvis. Man. And the thing is, Tommy Jarvis was played by Corey Feldman, who was known for being with Corey Haim as the two Corys. When he was a little kid, Tommy Jarvis actually killed Jason when he was a child. You wanna know how? Because he distracted Jason to make it seem like that he was Jason as a human little kid with a bald head. So Jason got, hallucinated, possessed, I think, or, in a trance to make him believe that he's seeing himself as a child. That orders his older sister Trish to take advantage by swiping the motherfucking mask right off of Jason's face, showing his disfigured face, which literally had me in tears. Because the very first time I watched all the Friday the 13th films, I was like, I don't know how old I was in the past. All I know is I was a little kid and I was scared as fuck watching Jason's face because it looked so horrible and it scared the shit out of me. Jason, if you're real, please don't kill me. I was just being honest. Anyways, so therefore, Tommy decided to whack Jason right in his fucking head, like right here. And Jason even slid down and the machete penetrated his skull, like right through. That literally killed him instantly. Like he died, like he's like literally dead. Until he was resurrected in Jason Lives, Friday the 13th, Part 6. Thanks a lot, Tommy Jarvis, you dumb fuck. You could have just left it alone. But yet, you accidentally resurrected a more brutal, dominant serial killer wearing a hockey mask. So therefore, Jason is dead and he cannot come back to life. Which he did, but he's literally dead. He's a zombie now. So therefore, Jason is really dead. So yeah. Always remember, always follow this rule. Make sure the killer is really, really dead. Don't assume he's dead. Go up to his freaking body and finish the job. Okay guys, so that concludes this video today. I just gave you guys the top 10 rules on how to survive in horror movies. So therefore, when you're watching a horror film, follow directions. Follow the scenarios that the protagonist occurs in horror films. Like, just literally follow all the rules that I just told you. Most of all, follow the rules that Randy Meeks from Scream even told you. But until then, I'm Cool Boy KJ. And this has been How to Survive in Horror Films. See you next week. Peace.